This week I fed a family of four for an entire week on less than $80. Yes, even in today's economy, even with all of the inflated prices, you can still eat really nutritious food on a super low budget. I'm going to be sharing my entire grocery list, my grocery haul, every single meal that I made for this week. This meal plan contains a breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every single day, is kid approved, and is full of plant based nutrition. Now, my family is currently living off grid, so the way that we're eating is not super relatable to most of you. So I connected to a local family and offered to create a budget meal plan for them in exchange for using their kitchen to cook and film. So they bought all the groceries and I cooked most of their meals for them, which I feel like was a win-win for both of us. If you guys enjoy this video, I'm thinking of doing a series helping other families create budget meal plans. So let me know in the comments if this video was interesting or helpful to you and your family. So here is the Aldi's haul. Let me go over our produce first. We got lemons, a big bag of ginger, garlic, sweet potatoes, onions. Now, a lot of the stuff we're not going to be using all of it this week, and it can roll over to next week. Bananas, these are great for cooking and snacking. Cilantro, green onions, 2 containers of strawberries. I am going to be making some strawberry jam, and then 2 containers of blueberries, some tomatoes, carrots, celery, green peppers. Green peppers are usually cheaper than the colored peppers, so I usually just buy green peppers. Some frozen peas, mixed veggies, and corn. Pineapple chunks. Some dairy-free cheese, and dairy-free milk. Peanut butter, oats, flour and sugar, and some yeast. So if you already have these things, you don't have to buy them again. I just wanted to start from the very basics in case you don't have any of these items. A can of black beans, can of coconut milk, a can of diced tomatoes, salsa, pasta sauce, pasta, 2 things of vegetable broth. I'm also going to be showing you how to make your own vegetable broth with our leftover veggies this week. That way you don't have to purchase that in the future. Quinoa, tortilla chips, and a big bag of black beans and white rice. So even though I have this bag of black beans, I still bought this can of black beans, and that is just for convenience purposes. It does take a long time to cook dried black beans, and if you just need a little bit, that can was less than $1. So just for convenience, it might be easier sometimes to buy canned black beans versus dry black beans. We got all of this food for under $80. I did all of my shopping at Aldi's, but I know not everyone has an Aldi in their area. So I also put in this entire order into the Walmart app just to see how much it was. And it actually came out a little bit cheaper than it did at Aldi. I will say at Walmart, you can get it cheaper because you can get single items. Like instead of getting an entire bag of lemons that I didn't necessarily need at Aldi, I could just get 1 lemon at Walmart. And so it's easier to customize your amount, but you are getting more bang for your buck. At Aldi's, if you have a larger family or if you can roll over these items into the next week, you do get more for your money at Aldi, but you can shop for slightly less at Walmart just because you can individualize your products a little bit better. The first thing I'm going to get ready is a slow cooker black bean soup. You just put it in the crock pot in the morning and let it cook for 6 to 8 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up all of these ingredients so I can get this started in cooking while I prep some of my other items for the week.
Like I said, I will show you at the end of the video how to make your own vegetable broth so you don't have to buy it in the future. It is super easy. Just throughout all of the meals this week, we're going to be saving the leftovers of the produce that we cut, like the onion skins, the tops of the carrots, and just anything else that we cut up. We're going to be saving that in a bag and just sticking it in the refrigerator. I will be linking all of these recipes down below so that you can go and find the exact measurements for everything. And I will also put chapters in the video so you can go back and rewatch any of the specific meals. Then if you would like a PDF version of this meal plan with the shopping list, the links to all the recipes, and just a meal plan for the whole week, I will also have that linked down below. Not only will you have the grocery list and the meal plan for this week's meal, but I also have included a blank budget meal planner grocery list that you can fill in your own for your own meal planning, your own grocery shopping. So whether you want to tweak this recipe a little bit and make some changes, or just create a whole new meal plan recipe list for the following week, you have that blank PDF to be able to do that. After you get all the ingredients in this black bean soup, you are just going to turn it on high and let it cook for 6 to 8 hours. These are our scraps that I saved from this meal. I'm just going to stick them in a bag in the refrigerator and use those at the end of the week to make veggie broth. I'm also going to go ahead and prep a bunch of white rice. This is going to go with several of the meals this week. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cook it so I don't have to do that like every night this week and stick the leftovers in the refrigerator. And this is about 8 hours later. You want to make sure that the beans are super soft and tender. This recipe calls to take an immersion blender and go ahead and blend up the black beans into a more of a soup mix. But I opted to just keep them whole. They're so soft and tender. I really don't think you need to mix them up. But you can either use an immersion blender or a regular blender just for a second if you want them to be more mashed up. And then I am just pairing this with rice and some cilantro, green onions, and tortilla chips. And then if you want it a little bit spicier, you can throw in some crushed red pepper flakes. All of these meals are going to be kid friendly, so I'm not making anything super spicy. So you can add the spice to it afterwards if you like it spicy. I give this meal a 10 out of 10. This is one of my very favorite meals. It is so good, and we make this all the time. Next, I am going to prep some homemade strawberry jam that we're going to be using throughout the entire week. Now, you could just buy some strawberry jam at the store if you are short on time. This is also going to last you several weeks because I am making so much of it. So this is optional, but entirely worth it in my opinion. The strawberry jam recipe is super easy and only has 3 ingredients: strawberries, lemons, and sugar. You can use your hands as a strainer to catch all of the seeds out of your lemon, but the funny thing is this lemon had no seeds in it, which was a shock to me. I've never had that happen before. I am just mixing up the sugar, the lemon juice, and the strawberries really well and let them sit for 10 to 15 minutes to release all of the juices. And then I am just going to turn the heat to medium low and I'm going to stir it until the sugar has melted completely. I'm going to let it simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes and start mashing up all of these strawberries. It's going to get easier to mash them up as they heat up and cook a little bit. After they're mostly mashed up and have simmered for 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to bring it to a rolling boil and stir it constantly until it reaches 220 degrees, which I don't have a thermometer, so I just guessed. Kind of will start to thicken up a little bit. And then you're just going to pour them into, you should be putting them in mason jars, but I don't have mason jars. So I'm just putting them into these glass containers, and it will last in the refrigerator for about 2 weeks. You can also freeze it to make it last long. Next, I'm going to be prepping some bread for the week. Now, bread is something else that you can just go ahead and buy from the store if you want, but learning how to make a super simple bread recipe is really going to save you a lot of money if you're trying to cut back on processed food. A lot of the cheapest breads in the store have a million ingredients. And if you want quality bread, that can cost $6, $7, $8 a loaf. This bread is so cheap to make and just requires a few very basic ingredients. One loaf is not going to last all week, so this is something that you would need to make like every 2 or 3 days in order to get you through this week's plan. You can go ahead and pre-make all of them or just make it every couple days. Fresh bread is so delicious. You can see the yeast start to ferment here. This is just a bowl of warm water, sugar, and a packet of yeast. Once that has fermented all the way, you're just going to add it in with your other ingredients and mix it up. After you get this all mixed up in a ball, you're just going to set it off to a warm spot and let it rise for about an hour. Come back and knead it for a bit, and then let it rise for another 30 minutes, and then it's ready to bake. To knead it, you're just going to roll it out a bit, bring the corners in, smush it down a bit, roll it out again, and repeat this process a few times until the dough is a little bit more elastic. Learning to make bread is a process, but even if you don't know what you're doing, which, I'm not a master bread maker by any means, you're not going to ruin it. It is going to be fine. And as you learn to make bread a little bit better, it's going to get a little bit better every time. And you will just learn how to make a delicious loaf of bread. Okay, next we're going to move on to breakfast. And I have 3 different breakfasts in this meal plan. The first one is going to be overnight oats. It's a peanut butter and jelly overnight oats, just with oats, almond milk, cinnamon, peanut butter, and some of the homemade strawberry jam that we made. This is going to be 2 servings that I'm making right here. It's 1 cup of oats. I'm doing 1 cup of milk now, and then you can add a little bit more in the morning if it's too thick for you. Then a little bit of cinnamon, couple tablespoons of peanut butter, and then however much strawberry jam that you want. If you start to run out of milk, or if you just want to save a little bit more money, you can add water to this, and it's basically just as good. The milk just makes it slightly more creamy. And then you're just going to stick this in the refrigerator overnight, and it is ready to go the next morning. This is a great breakfast if you're going to be in a hurry the next morning and you don't want to actually cook a breakfast. And then here it is the next morning. The oats have all absorbed the milk. You can add a little bit more milk if you want, but this was perfectly fine for me. I tasted it delicious. Our next breakfast is banana blueberry muffins. This is another breakfast that you can meal prep the night before and have it ready to go. Also, a great snack option if maybe you wanted to have overnight oats every morning. There's plenty of overnight oats that you could have this every day of the week. Um, or you'll have leftovers for the next week. But you can make these muffins as a snack if you're needing some extra snack food, or you can make it as a breakfast to kind of like vary your breakfast. One of the things with the meal plan is you can make it fit your needs, and there's lots of room for changing things around if you want to. One way that I plan our meals to make them really budget friendly is by adding some super affordable ingredients. So, bananas are something that is very, very affordable and can be added to a lot of different foods to sweeten them up, to make them more nutritious, and to really supplement some of the food that you're eating. Bananas are a great snack option. You can have just a banana or some banana and peanut butter, and then just adding it to so much stuff. We're going to be adding it to these muffins. We're adding it to the pancakes. If you want to cut some banana up in the morning and add it to your overnight oats, that is another great option. So I am making 6 big muffins here, but you could also make 12 smaller muffins. If you make the bigger muffins, you do need to cook it a little bit longer. I think I cooked it for about 8 minutes longer than the recipe calls for. And our next breakfast is perfect for the weekends, and that is going to be some banana blueberry pancakes. Now, if your family's getting tired of blueberries, or maybe you guys don't like blueberries, you can replace it with another berry, or you can just omit the berries altogether and just make plain pancakes with maybe some bananas on top. There's a variety of different ways that you can top these pancakes. But once again, we're going to mash up a banana and put into the pancake batter. These are plant-based pancakes, so there's no animal products in them, including no eggs. The mashed banana kind of takes the place of the egg. Even if you do eat animal products, we all saw what happened last year with egg prices, and we have the bird flu going around. You never know when you're not going to have eggs as an option for cooking, and a banana is a really great affordable replacement. We have enough blueberries if you add 1 cup to each recipe to make the muffins twice, the pancakes twice, or some variation of those. You can make muffins 3 times, pancakes once, whatever you want to do. You could also make fewer muffins and pancakes and instead add some of these fresh blueberries to your overnight oats, or just eat them as a snack throughout. If you have any leftover blueberries, go ahead and stick them in the freezer and you can use them for the following week or just later. This is personally my favorite breakfast. I absolutely love blueberry pancakes. And then you can top these a variety of ways. You can put some bananas on top of them. If you have maple syrup or any other type of syrup, you can put syrup over the pancakes, or you can put some of the strawberry jam over the pancakes, which is personally my favorite way to eat these. You could also maybe put some peanut butter over the pancakes. Um, or, just eat them plain if you really want to. Next, we are going to move on to lunch options, and I have 3 different lunch option ideas. This first one is a quinoa salad, and it is just a cold, easy lunch that you can pre-make at the beginning of the week, and it'll last several days. You're just gonna start by cooking the quinoa. You want this to be cold, so cook it, and then I throw this in the freezer for a little bit to kind of cool it down quickly. Quinoa is super awesome, and if you don't have it as a regular part of your diet currently, you definitely should. It is actually a complete protein and has all 9 of the essential amino acids that you need. It's, high in protein, high in fiber, contains lots of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. It is gluten-free, so in the dinners, I'm going to be adding rice to a lot of those dinners. If for some reason you can't eat a lot of gluten or you just want to replace the rice with something else, you could replace it with quinoa. Quinoa is more expensive than rice, but if you have a little bit of extra money and you wanna spend a little bit of extra money, you could replace most of the meals that I'm gonna be using rice for with quinoa. So here's my cold quinoa, and this is just super easy to make. You just take the quinoa and pour all of these veggies in there. You're going to add the lemon juice. The lemon juice is going to help preserve it for several days. So is the salt. This is some Italian seasoning. If you don't have Italian seasoning, you can add, oregano, dried parsley, basil, just whatever seasonings you have available. Then you're going to put some olive oil in there and just stir it up. I'm just adding this to some meal prep containers and putting a little bit of cilantro, green onions, and you can top it off with a little bit more salt and pepper if you want, and then some crushed red pepper flakes if you like a little bit of spice. The next lunch option is going to be some avocado toast with the fresh bread that we made. I had some of this everything bagel seasoning that I'm going to top it with, but you could just do salt and pepper, and that is fine too. Again, crushed red pepper flakes if you like it a little spicy. There's really a variety of different ways to make some really good avocado toast. I'm also going to put some tomato, cilantro, and green onion. Meal plan is intended for a family of 4, so this might be a really good lunch for the adults in the family, while this might be better for the kids. Although I love a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich also. But this meal is gonna be peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter, some of the homemade strawberry jam that we made, and then you can put the banana either on the side or on the sandwich. Just because I like to give you a variety of options. You could also do the quinoa salad for the week for the adult lunches, and then the kids can eat peanut butter and jelly. The avocado toast could be a snack. You just want to make the meal plan for you and your family. Then you can eat it like this, just as like peanut butter and jelly toast, or you could do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich by just throwing enough pizza bread over the top of it. Now we are moving on to dinners. Now, I already did the black bean soup because I needed to get that started right away because it was a slow cooker meal, but this one is going to be fajitas, and I don't have a recipe for this because this is something that I just throw together. You can really use whatever ingredients you want to make some delicious vegetable fajitas. I like to use green pepper because green peppers are less expensive than red peppers or colored peppers in general. Sweet potatoes are a really cheap food option that has a lot of nutrients in them. Potatoes in general are just great to create meals around. So any meal that has like a potato, sweet potato is going to be really healthy. Carrots, I got a whole bag of carrots, so I'm going to be throwing carrots in just about everything just because I have so many carrots and carrots have lots of nutrients. Garlic is also amazing food. Throw that into everything. It's really good for you and makes your food just taste great. Adding garlic and onion to just about any meal is going to make it a million times better and a great way to add flavor at a really low cost. I'm going to cook these sweet potatoes with these spices for about 3 minutes just to kind of lock the flavor into them, and then add some water. That'll help the sweet potatoes kind of cook a little bit easier. I'll let those cook for about 10 minutes before adding the other ingredients. And as I go, I'm just adding some more seasoning, the same seasoning on top of these peppers and onions, letting them cook for about 5 minutes. And then I'm adding the garlic. Once the sweet potatoes are soft, I'm going to add the black beans, the corn, and some more seasoning, and I'm going to just stir that up, let it cook for a few more minutes, and let everything heat up. I'm going to top it with some green onions and cilantro again. You should have a little bit of salsa left over from the black bean soup recipe. You can put that on top, put some tortilla chips on top. Tortilla chips are a great addition to a lot of meals, just to add a little bit of crunch. Next, we are going to be making some sweet potato curry with, our cheap sweet potatoes. I'm going to throw in a carrot again. We have some fresh ginger, garlic, onion, coconut milk, a can of diced tomatoes, and then some seasoning, frozen peas. I do have this recipe linked below. I'm not one to measure all the spices and ingredients. I just kind of add them close to what the recipe calls for and give or take a little bit based on how much I like those ingredients. You just basically let this simmer until the sweet potatoes are done and soft, which ended up being about 25 minutes. And then you'll just add the peas and just cook those long enough to heat them up. So just a couple more minutes. I have another option for you guys. So a lot of these meals are actually going to have leftovers. So you could actually eat leftovers for the next day for lunch. At least a couple people in the family could have these as leftovers. Or, if you're not a family of 4 or so and you're just 2 people, you could extend this meal plan and this could last you guys for 2 weeks. So really, you are getting a lot of meals out of these $75, $80 worth of ingredients. Next is going to be a super easy veggie pasta meal. This one is really quick. You can add veggies to it, to the pasta sauce if you want, or if you want to just do pasta sauce, do something basic, you can. I actually wanted a zucchini, but the store was out of zucchinis, so I would add a zucchini to this meal to beef up the veggies a little bit more. We are going to make some garlic bread out of our homemade bread loaf that we are making for the week. So we're just going to have all this stuff going at the same time and get this done real quick. Saute our veggies, bring our water to a boil and cook our pasta, and cook our garlic bread. Again, if you don't have any Italian seasoning, you can just kind of use whatever you have. Maybe some oregano, basil, or even just salt and pepper is fine. Really, with the garlic and onions and then the pasta sauce that you're going to put in there, there is plenty of flavoring. We're not going to use all of this pasta sauce. We're going to only use about 3/4 of it, or maybe like 2/3 of it, and save some of it for pizza sauce that we're going to be using another night, or maybe even 2 nights of dinners. And next, we are going to make some homemade pizza. These are the ingredients for the homemade pizza dough, which, just like the bread, is actually really easy and something that you should learn how to do if you want to save a little bit of money and also eat really healthy pizza crust. Just like with the bread, you're just going to mix up some warm water, sugar, and yeast, and you're going to set that off to the side and let it get frothy. This is what it looks like as it's starting to froth, and this is what it'll look like when it is complete and ready to add the other ingredients to. I'm just going to very gently stir in some olive oil. Then add my flour, salt, and the Italian seasoning is optional, but I think it adds flavor to the pizza. So you can optionally put in some Italian seasoning if you want. I started out with 2 cups of flour, but you can add up to 2.5 cups, and I ended up adding a little bit more flour. This is going to be a little bit stickier than the bread recipe, but you're just going to set this off to the side and let it rise for at least 10 minutes, but you could do up to an hour or so. I'm going to be making a dairy-free vegetable pizza, but again, this is very easily made to fit your family's needs and wants. I'm just going to be cutting up a green pepper, onion, garlic, and I'm going to be using dairy-free mozzarella cheese. had enough leftover pasta sauce to make 2 pizzas. So depending on how much your family eats in a night, you can either do 2 pizzas in one night or 1 pizza, a bag of mixed vegetables. I throw a bag of mixed veggies into my grocery list just to add to an additional meal, and this is a great meal to add some a veggie on the side, even though there's tons of veggies on this pizza also. I'm basically putting everything but the cheese on this pizza. I'm gonna bake it for about 10 minutes, pull the pizza out, put the cheese on, bake it for another 5-ish minutes just until the cheese is melted, and then it's ready to go. Per my usual suggestion, if you want it a little spicy, throw some crushed red pepper flakes on there. And if you're only having one pizza, maybe cook this bag of mixed veggies to go with it. Our next meal is going to be some pineapple fried rice. I have frozen pineapple chunks because Aldi was out of canned pineapple. Canned pineapple honestly works a little bit better and is going to be a lot cheaper. This rice needs to be preferably day-old rice, so it's better to meal prep the rice, stick it in the refrigerator overnight, and use that when you're making this meal. But again, everything's pretty flexible and it'll be fine no matter what you do.
Oops.
This meal made a lot of leftovers, so this is definitely a great lunch for the next day, or maybe even 2 dinners. I also added some green onions and optionally some everything bagel seasoning if you don't have it. Not a big deal. Don't forget, if you are wanting this entire meal plan grocery list, everything that's included in it, it is linked down below. You really can still feed a family delicious, nutritious meals on a budget. It just takes a little bit of planning, and I hope that I've made it easier for you guys to save money on your groceries. Now, like I said, we have saved all of our scraps throughout the week. This is, potato skins, carrot tops, onions, garlic, anything that was left over from what we cut up throughout the week. We're going to put it in here, cover it with water, simmer it for 3 to 6 hours, and then it is going to be delicious veggie broth. So you don't have to buy that again, and it's a lot healthier than the veggie broth that you buy at the store. One way to save money is to not waste anything. Here is everything that we had left over from this week's meals. We have lots of ginger that we can use for a long time. You can freeze that so that you don't waste it. We have sweet potato. I don't know why I got 2 things of vegetable broth. I don't need that one. And then I made some more. So just buy 1 thing of veggie broth. I don't know, always make mistakes, and I made a mistake on that one. We have a little bit of quinoa left, lots of lemons, celery, flour, sugar, black beans, oats, peanut butter. All of this stuff is going to roll over into the next week. You can recreate some of these meals. You can do the black bean soup again, just buy a few ingredients. We have rice, a great something to go ahead and plan for next week with these ingredients. You could do like a veggie soup with like sweet potatoes, carrots, celery, some lemons. You could also have some lemon water, which is a really great way to like flavor up your water and add some vitamin C to it. But just take these ingredients and try and figure out a way to use them in next week's meal planning. Now, if you guys have an extra $25 to throw at this week's budget and really want to bulk up your nutrients, I recommend adding nutritional yeast and chia seeds to your shopping list. This will still keep you under $100 and will last several weeks. Nutritional yeast is like it has a cheesy flavor and can be added to several of the meals, including the black bean soup, fajitas, and avocado toast. It is loaded with B12 and protein. I buy mine on Amazon and I will leave a link in the description. The chia seeds are a great addition to the overnight oats and will add extra protein, fiber, and iron. Just add a little less oats or a little more liquid because the chia seeds will soak up a lot of the liquid.